keep it real with ya.
Hey guys, it's me, Meanu, back with another video. Let me turn myself to this a little bit, just to. So my hair's getting on up there in age, huh? So one thing, I'm in a new apartment. That's why there's nothing behind me, and it's just a wall. Sadie is sitting right next to the camera, growling out the window at whatever random thing it is that she's seeing. Morticia is also at the window, but she is just licking her hand. Anyway, Sadie, what are you growling at? Is there a dog outside? Because even Morticia's confused. Even Morticia's sitting there like, what's going on? Are we supposed to be scared of something? What's happening? Oh, it's so funny. I can see myself in the mirror. Sit. I don't have the couch behind me, but they still manage to get in front of the camera every time. Anyway, so I want to tell you guys how the move went. I know last video it was like, ooh, God, what's going on, me? You okay? And I was like, no, I wasn't okay. And I recorded that like 2 weeks prior to my move. Now Sadie's smacking me with her tail. Um, but yeah, so I was not okay. I was very stressed. I was very upset. Felt very alone, like I didn't have anybody to support me. Because my biggest support systems were outside of my state and they could not physically help me. Morticia, leave a vacuum alone. It ain't do nothing to you. It just sit there. Anyway, so this all happened. I'm gonna go in chronological order because I have two things to tell you. I have to tell you how the move went, and I have to tell you about this drama that I had with my former best friend now. But I'll tell you how the move went first because that's chronological. So basically, like the Saturday before my move, I I don't know, I think I posted online or whatever, but I had this friend, it's an older lady, she's like in her 50s, and I was like trying to get rid of some of my furniture because I didn't want to take it with me to the new apartment. I wanted to get new furniture. Like I want to get a new couch. I had two coffee tables. I wanted to get rid of one of those. Wanted to get rid of like this TV stand. So she was like, "Oh, well, I work at a nonprofit that helps new mothers, and they would love some furniture." I was like, "Oh, yes, absolutely. I would much rather give it to you than the Salvation Army. If you can come get it, come get it." And so she literally went and rented a van and showed up to get like my couch and my coffee table and some like small appliances that I wanted to get rid of. And I was like, man, I could have gave you so much more if I knew that you were, doing this, because otherwise I just was selling stuff online. Um, yeah, so when she came over, I was explaining to her my situation and how I was so stressed about trying to pack because here's the things I've been struggling with. Like I said in the last video, if Sadie would get out the camera, do you need to be here right now? Ma'am, ma'am, this is not the Sadie show. Sadie, Sadie, I know you hear me. Sadie, go somewhere. Go get. Come over here. Come over here. Sadie, I know you're trying to be guard cat, but I need you to go somewhere, baby. I'm trying to be a YouTuber. You're not low enough to not be in the camera. You're still in the camera. Then come over here. Then sit down. Get your booty down. Say, oh my God. So anyway, um, yeah. So I was struggling with the mental health stuff. I was struggling with the physical health stuff. So I was barely able to pack, and all I knew was that look, come move day, it's either going on a truck or it's going in a trash because I was not about to waste any time getting up out of there. I could not do it. I was like, whatever I can't pack, I'm just gonna have to throw away. And she was like, "Oh, let me see if I can get some help. I think I might know somebody who lives in your complex." I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, let me see if I can get you some help." So, context on this friend. This friend is a Mormon. It never really comes up in our discussions, but she's a Mormon and she converted later. So she wasn't like born Mormon or anything like that. Um, but she's a Mormon. So she knew a bunch of Mormons because apparently Mormons are just fucking everywhere. And I had no idea because I don't look at stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so she knew a Mormon who lived in the complex. And then she also knew some people at her church who were I mean, it's the summer, so they're like helping people move anyway. So she was like, yeah, let me reach out to some people. So that was Saturday. By Monday, she had found three people to help me pack. So Wednesday comes, and I have people coming in helping me pack everything. Like I literally, like I thought I had packed my kitchen. I thought I packed my kitchen. But as we were going through the cabinets, we was just finding more stuff, and so it was really, really good for them to help me pack. Um, and then one of them in particular, the lady who lived in my complex, she was like a master packer. Okay. She was going through my house. I didn't have to tell her nothing. She was going through my house, digging up things to put in boxes. She was just finding stuff. And not only that, she could remember where she put everything. Now I had my list where I was keeping track of everything that was going in boxes, not everything, but the major things that I knew that I was going to want to look for, like how I just found my microphone and my camera because I have on my list that this box in particular has your camera in it. And at first I was like, there's no way that I actually wrote that. And then I went and I was like, it's all in this box. They're together. Um, but she can remember everything. I was like, oh my God, my headphones, what box are they in? And I texted her this. And then she was like, oh, it's in the miscellaneous box. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, it's labeled miscellaneous living room. I was like, what? I go in there, find it immediately. Like, thank goodness for this woman. She was amazing. Um, but yeah, just helping me like pack everything. And she had a lot of experience with movers. So that was some stuff where she was like, oh, the movers will wrap your paintings. You don't have to wrap them yourself. I was like, oh, perfect. She was like, yeah, actually, you didn't even need to buy the TV boxes. Like, they would have wrapped your TV, but it is good to just have it anyway so that you can ensure nothing happens. But she was like, they would have wrapped the TV. And I was like, this is crazy. But I mean, for all the money I spent, like they better do something. But yeah, so literally the last week of my move, days before the movers show up, the Mormons, the Mormons came in clutch and helped me pack the rest of my life. I had in the old apartment, I had a corner of the boxes that I had packed. By the time those movers showed up on Friday morning, I had an entire wall, like the entire dining room was just boxes and bags. And I had no idea I had that much stuff. Like even my therapist was like, "You had that much stuff?" I was like, I guess I had that much stuff." Um, but it was just so like I don't even know cuz I'm bad at expressing my emotions. I don't even know how to express how deep of gratitude that I felt for my Mormon friend, that she just pulled. And Mormons, they just help people. And I didn't realize that. Like people always say, oh, go to church. I thought it was gonna be an ulterior motive. Like, I mean, they literally did show up with Bibles, but they didn't try to like read to me and say, like, oh, we can't help you until you put your hand on the Bible and stuff like that. Like I've had Baptist Christians that I was hanging out at a friend's house, and their Baptist Christian parent would be like, I'm not serving you pizza until you tell me that you accept the Lord Jesus Christ. No, you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And I would have to say that to them to get food. So, long story short, I was scared of Mormons, but they did not proselytize to me at all. They just showed up and they helped me. And I texted my friend, I said, let me find out you're trying to convert me. And she was like, haha, no, these are just the people I know. It's just a lot of people in the church. I was like, yeah, it is a lot of y'all. You found somebody who live around the corner from me. That's wild. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, they came in clutch, helping me pack up my entire life. It was still very stressful because I still had to keep track of where everything was going, and I had to make sure I had enough boxes, and we ran out of tape and we had to get more tape and all that stuff. But it was still very, very good. And I cannot express how much it meant to me that even though that friend herself could not help me, when she heard that I needed help, she rallied the troops to come and help me. People who she doesn't even know that well herself, but they're in her church. So she just reached out to them and they didn't hesitate to be like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll come help. And that was just something that was so, it was just good. It was just good for me because everybody else that I knew, they were all just too busy, or the second I mentioned needing help, they stopped answering my messages and my calls. So I was very, very, very upset. And I felt very lonely. I felt very abandoned. I was also going through some other stuff. And this is like the biggest change of my life, right? I've been trying to get out of my hometown since I popped out the womb. Like I rushed out the womb and then I wanted to get out of the town, but I couldn't because I was a baby. Um, so finally being able to do that was such a huge thing, and I didn't have anybody to go through it with me. Like I had some people who would be like, "Oh yeah, I'll help," but then when I reached out to them, they just did not answer my messages or calls when it was time to help. And I understand people got their own stuff going on. I get it. But that don't change the fact that I felt some type of way when I needed help, and people that I've helped did not come to help me in the like even like small stuff like watching the cats so that I could go to the new city and apply and look at the apartment and everything like that. My therapist had to find somebody to help me with that. And so yeah, I feel a little some type of way. Okay. Also, this is a different angle because I haven't fully set up everything in the room yet, so that's why, you know, usually it'd be at a different angle. But anyway, but yeah, that all happened, and like literally like down to the wire, the last few seconds, like it just came together. And it was like a miracle, like the movers showed up when they were supposed to. And it was like, and I like to say this, like, and I do know that I have a little bit of a persecution delusion or whatever, because I always think that if there is somebody in the sky, they don't like me very much. Um, because the movers showed up, but instead of three people, it was two. And I needed them to be done in like 2 hours. So I'm calling and I'm like, hey, where's the third guy? Where's the third guy? And they're like, oh, we're sending him to you now. Took an hour for the third guy to get there. Then, like an hour or so before I needed them to be done, storm rolls through. And now they got to pack in the rain. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And one of the guys who wasn't the leader, but one of the guys was like, man, it just depends on how heavy you get. We might have to move slower. And I was like, move slower? No, man, you don't understand. I need y'all to be out of here by like 11:30. You know what I mean? We already behind because it took the other guy an hour to get here. Um, but the head guy was like, we've moved in ice storms. We got this. It's fine. Um, but then the storm goes through. The storm, ironically, goes east, which is where I needed to go. So, still, that storm was not just, it didn't just pass through. It was like, I'm going to be blocking you. I'm going to be blocking you. Um, so I get them out of there and they move as fast as they can. And then they was telling me too, like, oh man, these boxes are so light. I'm like, yeah, because I only had small boxes, which made packing 10 times harder. I had to go to the back of a Dollar General to find big boxes so that we could speed up packing. I only had small boxes, which made my 2.5 months of packing take way longer. Um, but yeah, they was moving everything. They got my hardwood TV stand out, no problem. Well, it did stress them a little bit, but they were able to strap it to a big ass what you call it, the thing with the two wheels. And so then they're all moving and I'm calling the front office. Now, let me rewind a little bit because I also had a situation with the front office. Now, I knew that something would happen. So that same weekend, like the day after my friend left after getting my stuff, I'm reading through my new lease at the new place. And I'm like, man, this lease looks exactly like my old lease. And I get to a point where it says, you have to give a 60-day notice or we're going to charge you a penalty of 1 month's rent. And then there's another section that says, if you move out before your lease ends, we're going to charge you a penalty of 1 month's rent. I was like, fuck. Y'all never reached out to me to ask if I was renewing my lease. So I never said nothing. And here I am 4 or 5 days from my move and I've given no notice and I'm moving out a week early. So I try to go to the office and they're like, nah, we just decided to go home randomly 2, 3 hours before closing time. So I had a whole breakdown. Literally was sitting in my car in the rain, crying, texting my therapist, calling myself a lot of bad names. And my therapist was like, you're going to be okay. And I was like, I don't believe you. I might be okay, but I will never forgive myself. And I was so upset and I was so hard on myself, calling myself all kinds of names. Um, Monday comes. As soon as they open, I walk over there. And mind you, all this is going on in the middle of me starting a new job as well. I walk over there. I'm already sweating when I hit the door. I come in, I'm awkward. I'm like, where do I go? Who do I talk to? And I waited for somebody to say, you can come to me. Because I was like, and they were like, oh, come over here. And it was this black lady. I was like, okay. So I sit down and I'm like, hi, yes, I want to schedule a move in inspection for Friday, please. if you can come at like 11:30 or 12 o'clock, that would be great. Um, and she was like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure, we can do that. Do 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 do." And the maintenance guy's sitting there, and he's like, "Yeah, I can do the duty inspection on Friday." And I was like, "Oh, great, thank you." Also, like I regressed to like teenage Minu who was super into anime. I started doing the thing. I was like, also, the move out notice, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you giving your notice already, right?" And I was like, "No, ma'am." And she was like, "Oh, it you're supposed to give a 60-day notice." And I was like, "Oh." We were just kind of looking at each other. Um, and so she calls the manager over, this other black woman. She calls the manager over and she's like, "Yeah, this is the first time she's given notice. She's moving Friday. It's Monday. Her lease ends next week." And the manager's like, "Yeah, that's gonna be about 2 months rent penalty." And then they would start like whispering, and I'm just standing there like, I probably looked so freaking distressed too because I was so upset. I was just like, please, please, I'm holding out for a miracle. And the manager is just like, ah. And I'm like, fuck that me. And so the lady looks at me and she's like, okay, so you're gonna write on this form that it's actually you're gonna instead of putting today's date, you're gonna put May so that it looks like you gave a 60-day notice. And I was like, really? I already wrote today's date. Can you give me some white out, please? And she like whites it out for me, and then I write in May as the date. And I'm like, so I don't have to pay the penalty? And she's like, no. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. This means a lot to me. And she was like, I know exactly what you're going through. Like, I know you want to get out of the city. I feel you. We gonna see you on Friday. I was like, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day. Like I started blessing people. And I didn't even know how to feel. I was like so emotional about it. But it was like, it just came through for me. Hello, Morticia. Go on over there, please. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Okay. And so that came together, right? But now fast forward to Friday. It's about 11. It's almost 11:30. I needed them out by 11. They were still moving stuff by 11:30. And I still needed to vacuum. Now luckily, when the Mormon people came, the sisters, they picked up as they were packing stuff. So I only had to vacuum and they helped me clean, wipe some stuff down. And I did have to patch up a piece of carpet that Sadie destroyed when I first got her. So I'm calling the office and it's going straight to voicemail. I'm trying a number from their email. They saying the number you have reached is disconnected. I was like, oh God, no. No. Why does the universe keep playing games with me? And then out of nowhere, as they're still moving, I go outside because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to pack up the cats. I'm gonna have to clean up the office. I'm gonna have to clean up the apartment. Then I'm gonna have to go over to the office, leave the cats in a hot car, go over to the office and get them so that they can come back over here to do the inspection. And so I come outside and I just put the cats in the car. And lo and behold, who do I see turn the corner? The fucking maintenance man who's come to do the inspection. First of all, this nigga showed up with a piece of copy paper. Like he have a notebook and he just had some copy paper. He was gonna write some stuff down. I was like, you came and I didn't need to call you? This has literally never happened. You know when the last time I seen a maintenance man? Like a year ago. This has never happened. That you just showed up when you supposed to show up. Like, and so he's like, are you ready? And I was like, I'm not ready, but give me 1 second. And so I leave him downstairs. I go in, I get my vacuum. I vacuum everywhere that I see stuff. Like I'm not even trying to do a deep cleaning. I just vacuum everywhere I see stuff. And I grab my vacuum and I'm take it out and I'm like, I'm ready. Let's go. And I'm like sweating bullets. So he comes in, he does a walk around. I'm like, how long is this gonna take? Because I have a 6 hour drive and the new apartment closes at 6 and it's almost 12. And he was like, oh, okay, let me speed up. So he does a little quick walkthrough. He's like, yeah, we're gonna have to charge you for the carpet. And I was like, but I've been here for a year, so you got to replace it anyway. And he was like, oh, you've been here 4 years? I was like, yeah, you don't remember? He was like, oh, okay. Well, we won't charge you for the carpet then. We gotta replace it anyway. I was like, did it work? Now, I have a hard time with speaking up. And I would have never expected this company to help me. This is the same company that sends out emails in all caps yelling at people because they brought their kids to the pool and then shutting down the pool because they didn't like that kids were running at the pool and being loud. Okay. These are also the same people who put random charges on my rent that took 5 days to pull off to where I was about to be charged for not paying rent. These are the same people who refused to fix the gate and refused to pay for a courtesy officer, leading to a large amount of car thefts and break ins in my complex. And these people fucked with me. I spoke up and I was like, hey, no, I didn't do a 60-day notice. And they fucked with me. I said, hey, please don't charge me for the carpet. You got to replace it anyway. And they fucked with me. And they were like, yeah, we won't charge for carpet. So that means I'm not only am I getting not getting extra charges, but I'm probably going to get my security deposit back. I wasn't expecting any of that back. I was expecting to pay 2 months rent, not get my security deposit back. That's not at all what I was expecting. And it just came through. Because I spoke up and I said something. When the two movers showed up instead of three and I spoke up and I said something, and then they sent the third guy with the carpet thing, I spoke up and I said something with the penalty for not doing a move out notice. Also, guys, if you live in an apartment, please check your lease to see if you have to do a move out notice. Because the apartment I lived in prior to this did not give a fuck. They just wanted us gone. They didn't even think we was gonna renew in the first place. Um, but yeah, and then as I'm leaving, right, it's already 12, meaning that by the time I get to the new place, it'll be 6 p.m. They'll be closing. So I call, I get no answer, and I'm on a voicemail begging, please stay open for just a few more minutes. I won't make any stops, and I will gun it to get to you in time. Please just stay open for a few more minutes for me. I hadn't even eaten that morning. I grabbed some food from Starbucks and I sped. I drove through the thunderstorm. It took me 2 hours to get through that thunderstorm that was heading in the same direction as I was heading. Um, Traffic jams, roadblocks, construction. I drove through a mountain. I ended up, by the time I actually got into town, it was 5 o'clock traffic. So everything was coming at me, and all I could think about is like, I gotta get there. I don't give a fuck what y'all doing over there. I don't care about the car that's on fire on the side of the road. I'm not rubbernecking because all I'm thinking is I'm looking forward. I'm thinking where I gotta be. I don't care about nothing else happening out here. Oh, you don't know how to drive? I'll ride the left lane all the way to this motherfucker. I'm getting here. And then I had to slow down because there was police everywhere. As soon as I spotted the police, I was like really looking. Spotted the police, slow down. As soon as I passed the police, 80. And again, I'm in the South, so it's not like that bad that I was driving 80 because some people was going 90. But I had to do it. I had to do it. And once I hit the city, I was still an hour away. Once I hit the city, I had to get to the other side of the city. They called me back. The office of the new place called me back. And they had called me at like 8 something to check on me. The office called me back and she's like, I'm so sorry. I just got your voicemail. Of course, we can stay open later. I'll just hang out. I mean, I live at the complex anyway. I don't have anywhere to go. I will stay open for you. And I was like, thank you. But I'm a beater on time because I'm motherfucking speeding. And so I get in there. And the cats also too. By the way, the cats, they snuggled the whole time. I was very surprised. They was cool. The only time they said anything was when I looked back at them. As soon as I stopped that car, Sadie was like, meow. I was like, wait a minute. I stumble in this place sweaty and well, I'm not super sweaty anymore, but I'm like in a tank top. I stumble into this place where they're all fancy dressed and they were like, "Oh my God, Mimi, you made it. You made it. We're here. You're here." And they was trying to like have me take in a moment. I was like, "I need the keys to my apartment, please." And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, no problem. Here's a goodie bag. Um, here's the stuff showing that we're not charging for the pet." Like she just walked me through everything, and she was like telling me about all the like stuff. Like I have a security system now in my apartment and valet trash, and she's telling me about like all the stuff that I could go to that was like open 24 hours. And I was like, I guess I could relax a little bit, but I still got to get back in the car just to get to my apartment. So let's have this conversation tomorrow, okay? Um, and she gets me into the apartment. She says she looked over it and everything looked good. I get in there, I can see where they clean, but I still got to wipe it down myself. And I get in there and I finally like put the cats down in the bathroom and the movers call me and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, I figure it's gonna take you a while to get here. And he was like, yeah, but Sadie, did you fart? Oh God, I'm trying to talk here. And the mover was like, yes, we're about another hour away, but do you mind if we come in and set up your bed tonight? And I was like, what? I was planning to sleep on the floor. If I knew you was gonna set my bed up, I wouldn't have packed all this bedding. It was like, you can absolutely come and set up my bed. And it was like it was such a good thing because one, the movers are really, really nice and really professional. But two, like I got to walk through my apartment and think about the way I wanted it to look. And that is not something that I've ever done because I've said in other videos, I don't decorate. I don't put stuff up on the walls. I don't have a color scheme in mind for my apartment. Um, in the apartment that I was living in before, like most of my stuff was in the bedroom. I had to buy furniture. I had to grow into that apartment. But as I grew into that apartment, I just shoved stuff wherever it would fit. I didn't think about what room do I want to be my bedroom? What room do I want to be my office? Where do I put the futon? Where do I put the desk? Where do I put the computers? Where do I want to work? Where do I want to sleep? Where in my living room do I want my furniture to go? I've never thought about that because I never had a choice. You know, when I moved into the original place, I had a roommate. So it wasn't my choice of where everything went. It was mostly their choice. And then occasionally I did something of my choice and got yelled at. But I got to think about that. And that was wild for me. And they came in and they set up my bed and they was like, oh my God, this is such an upgrade. This looks great. I can tell you're going to be really happy here. And everybody I've talked to about this, they're like, you're going to love it there. You're going to be so happy. You were going to thrive there. And I didn't care. Like, I didn't think about it. Like, I was telling my therapist the other day, and I'll end this and I'll get to the drama, I guess, in the next episode because we've already gone so long. But like I told my therapist, I didn't care that I was going to be in a nice apartment. I didn't care that there was going to be amenities. I didn't care that it was going to be a view. All that I cared about was getting out of my hometown. That was it. I told her, I said, I passed a trailer park, on my way to a certain area. And I was like, if I came here and I stayed in that trailer park, I would have felt the exact same way because the only thing that mattered to me was that I left home. I left hometown. That was all that mattered to me. And I never thought about what I wanted the quality of my life to be like in the new place. I just thought that I had to get out of my old place. And that was it. So to not only be in the new place, but to be in a good place that is a safe place with nice neighbors. And, I went to a restaurant and they gave me a free meal because I was new. They were just like, yeah, order whatever you want. And people have just been super nice. And like my neighbors have helped me with stuff. And it's just like, I never imagined any of this. I never asked for any of this. Do I like it? Yes. But it's not like I was like, oh, I'm going to move to a new place and it's going to have this. It was none of that. I could have came here. Like, only thing that is a requirement of me moving into a new place is that it don't have roaches. And I'm going to knock on some wood so it don't come around. That's my only requirement. I could have came in here and it could have been dirty. I could have came in here and it could have been paint chipping on the walls. I could have came in here and my neighbors could have been racist and be like, "What these niggers doing here?" Like, it could have been all types of stuff. And all I would have cared about was that I was no longer in the place that I was. Sadie's playing with a ball. So the fact that I did do all of this, right? And I finally get here and it's a positive experience is more than I ever could have asked for is what makes me just like I'm just floored. You know what I mean? Like everything from my friend coming in at the last minute and finding people to help me because other people were just like, no, I can't help you, or they don't say anything. But for her to be like, well, I can't help you, but let me find some people who can, that was a huge thing. To have people come in at the last minute and help me out, to have my movers be professional, to be nice, to make me feel like they were going to take care of my stuff, to survive the drive, to have the new people in the apartment be like, we will stay open later so that you can come in and do this so you don't have to stay at a hotel with your cats for the night, and to just continuously run into nice neighbors and is just more than I could have ever asked for. And also too, I'll show you another bit, but it's a beautiful place. It's beautiful. My allergies are killing me, but it's beautiful. The trees, the clouds, the greenery coming from like an urban jungle. This is just amazing. And I feel good. I feel good. And I wanted to share that with you guys because like I said in my last video, I really hoped that by the time that video came up that I would be able to watch it and be like, yes, it was hard, but we got through it. But now I can say not only did we get through it, but it went amazing. And everything went right. Everything went better than right for the first time in a long time. Usually I expect everything to fall apart. And there were little things that were like obstacles, but everything came together, everything came into place at the last minute. And that for me was just like, wow. Um, and it just how nice everybody has been is also wild because in my hometown it's like people aren't the nicest to each other. And for people to just the people in the office, for the inspector, the movers, the Mormon, well, you expect Mormons to be nice, but like everybody just came through to like help me with what I needed to do. And just like me speaking up in the past, me speaking up has got me yelled at, like how dare you ask me to help you when I have things going on. Um and so for me to like speak up and say stuff and it to be responded to with support, like the lady that was like a packing genius, like she found a sticker that I had as she was cleaning up and it said, don't be afraid to ask for help. And she looked at me and she said, I'm proud of you. I was like, what? She's like, I'm proud of you for asking for help and not trying to do this all by yourself. And I almost cried. um, and it is like because of me speaking up, because I could have moved out and not said anything about the notice, and there would have been no notice on record, and I would have been charged, right? But me speaking up about the notice and being honest about it, because I really thought I was going to have to lie. Um, but being honest about it, being honest about the carpet situation, speaking up about the movers, speaking up about the fact that I was not going to make it to the office in time, um, and asking them to stay later, and they did. Like, it is such a healing thing, and it is helping. It's very restorative because it is helping me rewrite those narratives in my brain of don't speak up, don't say anything. If you don't say anything, then no one will get mad at you and you won't have to deal with any negative consequences. And now it's like, you can speak up and it's possible to have positive responses. The restaurant gave me a free meal because they were like, hey, are you new here? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, okay, free meal. And it's just like, you know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, I've been talking for a long enough time. I'm gonna let y'all go. Like I always say, if I can get focus. There we go. Like I always say, take care of yourself because you deserve it. Drink your water, eat your food, take naps. It took me about 3 days before I could actually like sleep, and I took a good hard nap. Um, but yeah, take care of yourself because nobody can do it for you. But also, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help because you might find someone who is willing to help you take care of yourself. So lesson that I learned. But thank you guys so much for listening and supporting me and the messages I've been getting of people, wishing me luck on my move and everything. I really appreciate it. Join the Discord if you're not already in Discord. Follow me on Instagram. If you want to throw me some money so that because I am buying a bunch of crap for the new apartment that I just realized that I just don't have. You can support me on coffee, put any amount of money that you want, whatever it is more than I make on YouTube. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna keep those links in the description so you guys can use them how you feel. All right. Bye everybody.